Hey dudes, how's it going? Today I'm going to show you how to do a Bible study, or more specifically how I try and do a Bible study. So I'm someone who's always really struggled to get down and actually read and take in what the Bible's saying. I think part of that is because I'm dyslexic, so reading does not come naturally to me. Focusing, trying to take things in from books and stuff doesn't ever really come naturally to me. I do really enjoy reading, but I always read very simple, sort of mainly young adults, children's books that are just very the and really enjoyable, whereas the Bible is a lot more meaty, a lot more in it, and it's something that is just more difficult to read. Even considering the fact that until recently I did not really enjoy reading the Bible, really struggled with it. I actually have a theology degree, so basically I went to a uni that's called a Bible college. So even though I studied the Bible essentially at university, I never really had a routine until recently, when basically I was ill, I had COVID, I couldn't go out anywhere, and I was like, I literally don't have an excuse anymore for not reading the Bible. I'm at home all the time and I should try and launch into it as much as possible. So I thought I would show you what I do, and hopefully it might help you guys and give you a few techniques of what to do. So the things that I see as important for having a Bible study is, number one, a Bible. If you don't have a Bible, you're not going to get very far. However, you can get Bible apps on your phone, you can have it online and stuff, but as long as you have a way to look at the Bible, that'd be very good. I also use pens and stuff, so I'm able to write notes in my Bible, and then I also have a notebook just to be able to write some notes in as well. So let's go. I thought the best way to show you is by me doing a Bible study and taking you guys with me. Another thing to add is that I would usually play worship music as well whilst doing the Bible study, so I'm sort of in the mood, don't have many background noise and stuff, and can focus purely on God and the Bible. So then I'm currently going through Genesis, so I started at Genesis 1, so the very beginning of creation, and I'm now almost at the end of Genesis, in Genesis chapter 41, so near the end, and I thought I'd just take you along with me. So what I do is I basically just start at the top and just try and read it and take it in, and if I find any bits that jump out to me, or I just want to delve into more, I usually take a pen, so I have all of these fine liners, and I try and I take a pen out of these, oh my gosh, I can't speak. I grab a pen at these fine liners and I underline it. So I'm currently reading through Genesis 41, as I said, and this is the story of Joseph. So Joseph in the Technicoloured Dreamcoat, that story, and Joseph is now interpreting dreams. So I'm currently reading through it, and one thing I've underlined is the fact that Pharaoh, who was the king of the time, saw Joseph interpreting these dreams as I need to talk to this guy, I need him to interpret some of my dreams. So I've underlined this to sort of highlight how Joseph was such a small, insignificant person at the time, but God still used him to reach out to people around him, including the king. So I've underlined that, and then I'm going to make a little note about it in my Bible. So as I said, I've underlined it here, and then I've got all this blank space here so I can make notes. And what I always try to do is, if I underline it in orange, for example, so I've underlined this passage in orange, I'll then try and write it in orange so I know what note connects to which passage. So now I've got the passage highlighted or underlined, and I've written a note there. I'm going to continue going through the rest of the chapter. Okay, so I've gone through the chapter. I think it's really important that you're just sort of realistic. So I could be I'm going to read the whole of this book, or however many chapters, but actually I find it just so much easier to break it down into chapters, do a chapter at a time. And then if you get to the end of the chapter and you're I could read a bit more, that'd be really good. But I think it's also very important just not to feel like you have to read however many chapters, you have to do however much. Even if it's just half a chapter, that's brilliant, and you can learn something from that. So as you can see, I have gone through, I've underlined various bits, I've put various notes here of things that I've just sort of stood out to me, or things that I would like to explore more of. And sometimes you get parts that just like don't make any sense. So a few chapters before this that I was reading the other day, it was talking about idols and the fact that you had to sacrifice all your idols, and they do that, and the people sacrifice their idols but also take out their earrings and sacrifice that as well. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. Like, is that God saying that we shouldn't wear earrings? Like, why was that seen as an idol? And that was something that I wanted to look more into. So there are different ways you can look into things. The first way is to ask someone you respect or trust in the Christian community. So that could be someone from your church, that could be someone on this channel, someone who will walk alongside you and be like, let's look into this together. Another way is to look at commentaries, and that is a very big word. And I had got a Bible commentary when I was at uni, and it's this massive book, and it basically goes through all the Bible, and it's amazing theologians basically telling you what different things mean. You could do this if you want to. That's not necessarily what I'd recommend. What I'd recommend is looking on the internet, and if you just type in what does this verse mean, that is good, but you sometimes get really weird answers. You get people who maybe don't understand theology, don't understand the Bible, telling you whatever they think, and that may not necessarily be true. So one website that I'd recommend is Bible Gateway. So this is Bible Gateway. What you do is you type the passage in there and type the version. So for example, I could go Genesis. So look, I've typed Genesis 41 in the NIV version. It could be whatever version, but that's the version I've got my Bible in, and press go. This is a really good way of getting the Bible without having a physical Bible. But if you look down here, they've got study Bibles and encyclopedias and commentaries. So if you click on one, for example, Haley's Bible Handbook Notes, and click on these different things. So for example, looking at this one, so this is the Reformation Study Bible that I've just randomly picked out, and I'm like, oh yeah, Genesis 41 verse 32 doesn't quite make sense. It then has a little bit of an explanation of it, and that's a really good way to just be able to understand more of what is going on. So yeah, that's one way that I just, if I'm not really understanding, that's one way of getting to understand. So actually with that earring example, I was like, why is that? I looked in this big old book, I looked on Bible Gateway that I've just shown you, and actually it was talking about how people use earrings in a superstitious way and how we shouldn't be superstitious, and that was part of idols. So it wasn't that God was like, no, you can't wear earrings, it's that you shouldn't wear earrings in a way of being superstitious. So it's just a great way of really diving in and really understanding. So now I've done that, so I've read a chapter, I've highlighted stuff, I've written some notes. What I want to do is delve more into it and just try and write some more notes. So that is where I kept my notebook from. So this was given to me for Christmas by my dad, and it's my Bible study journal, but in reality any notebook will do for this. And what I do is, so those were my notes from the last one, and I'm going to try and write notes here for Genesis 41. And so I've just put in the date, the name of the scripture, and then basically copy out the notes that I've already done in my Bible, but try and go into more depths of it, because obviously the Bible doesn't have a lot of room. Think about, do I have any questions about it? Are these questions that I can easily answer? Those questions that, or are there questions that I need to write down and look at a later date? So that's what I'm going to do now. Oh, that was a loud sound. Okay, so I've now, these are my notes. So I've got the passage, so Genesis 41, and then I've got all these notes that I've been able to go into in more detail and actually sort of reflect on what that passage is trying to tell me. And now I've just got to the bottom where it says prayer and praise. So there I just sort of give thanks to God for this passage and really like try and highlight what I've learned from this. So this whole passage was about Joseph interpreting dreams and getting prophetic words from God through dreams. So at the bottom I've just done a prayer which says, thank you for speaking to us through dreams and prophetic words. And that's what I've learned from this passage. That's what I've been able to take away from this passage, is that God is able to speak to us through dreams, prophetic words, and lots of different things like that, which is good. And I've been able to reflect on that through the fact that I've read this. So this is how I try and study the Bible. This is how I've learned to actually take in the word of God rather than just read it. It may work different ways for different people, but I hope that you watching this, you've been able to at least learn one thing that maybe you'd be able to apply into your life. I normally try and do like 1 chapter a day, but I sometimes miss days. I sometimes do a bit more, a bit less, depending on what's going on that day, how I'm feeling. But I always try and prioritize reading the Bible, because I know it's just so important for our lives as a Christian. So I hope that this has helped you. If you have any questions, let us know by writing in the comment section. Like it if you'd liked it, comment any of your comments, and subscribe if you haven't already, and hopefully we will see you soon. Bye.